You ever wanted to know what it was like to grocery shop in a foreign country? Today we're going to go grocery shopping. We're in Poland, and we're going to take you into a local grocery store we've been, frequenting while we've been here. And we're going to show you some unusual items that you may not be used to back in the States or wherever you're at. And we're going to compare what we might have to what you might be used to.
Yeah, items that you probably have seen before, but maybe, I don't know if I use the word weird, but I think weird is a good word.
Yeah.
So
come on along, go with us.
Welcome back to Retire to Rome. We are in Łódź, Poland, and we're going into a grocery store in our neighborhood that we're staying, and it's, we think, called Netto, Netto, which is definitely one of the larger grocery stores that we've come across here in town. So let's go inside and show you some interesting things we've found while here. Just keep filming. Definitely some interesting pastries here on the meat counter, and then you have what you would consider, I guess, a bakery. Fresh breads, fresh pastries. I'll have to go get a buggy somewhere. In the States, we're used to getting maybe one type of mushrooms or mushroom, and here you can see probably 5 or 6 different types that you can choose from. That's not really weird, but it is interesting. Okay, here's something that I found interesting, and we've actually bought these before. They're called cheeseburgers, and they have a patty, which I think is more like chicken, but it's definitely kind of like the hamburgers we used to get in school. But it comes with the bun and the cheese, and underneath it, you probably can't really see it, but there's a ketchup and a mustard pack in each of those. So those are microwavable. So those are about $3 for 2 there. This is another thing that's pretty big over in Europe. It's these pre-made sandwiches, and you can find them. This one's salami. You can find all different types here, juices and that kind of thing. But the cheeseburger is probably, we can show them this. Is this the hot dog? No, we'll get to that. This is more of a chicken patty, but we'll show you some. Okay, let's see, hot dogs. In the States, when you buy hot dogs, you think you're going to get like a pack of 8 hot dogs, but here you actually get the hot dog with the bread and also with the ketchup and mustard packet included. So those are about, $14.98, probably about $3, $3 or $4 there for that. Okay, this has probably been the section that's been the hardest for me, because they have all these little flippin' pastries and donuts and breads that are ridiculously cheap. The donuts are like 50 cents a piece. They're really good. You've got turnovers here that are less than $1. You've got pizzas here that are right at $1 a piece. And they're really good. You can just microwave them in your room. You've got croissants. This croissant here at the top that I'm pointing at is about 50 cents. Then they have the chocolate filled ones, which I can go ahead and tell you those are good. They're less than $1 as well. But what you do is you can pick up a large loaf of bread and some of these and actually slice it. This one doesn't have the slicer here. Okay, I guess this is the second weird thing. This is the bread that you can find, and this bread is, it doesn't taste that bad, but it is so hard. It is not like Wonder Bread at all. So we have looked at different grocery stores and they're all the same, very hard.
Here's the next thing.
Yeah, this is, we can show you some more later on, but these are eggs. And it took us a minute to get used to this. You can see these are just on the shelf with coffee and not refrigerated. So what they do here is they don't refrigerate their eggs. They leave the, I think it's called the bloom on them, so they're not washed. So in fact, you might find a little bit of chicken poo on them, but they're just left out on the counter and yeah, not refrigerated, which took us a minute to get used to. We've eaten quite a few of them and have not died yet, so I think we're okay. Here are a few more bread items. Here at the bottom you can see a couple of different types of bread loaves that you can purchase. Again, we've tried them, I guess all of them, and they're about the same. This is something that we found that I like, which is about $1.50, and they're waffles. You get 12 of them to a pack. They're very soft. You can microwave them, toast them, whatever you want to do, but they're very good. And like I said, you get 12 of them for about $1.50. Another different item there on the shelf, not frozen. Nutella, everything here. Nutella's huge. This is probably just one small section that's on sale, but you've got a Nutella-like product with marshmallows and all kinds of different things here on the jellies aisle. To me, this store is very similar to what we would consider an Aldi's in the States because of all the little things that you can purchase that are not groceries. So you've got pans, pots, glassware, cups, that kind of thing. I'm trying to talk over this music so we don't get censored because of the music, but so you'll find here a lot of pickled meats of all kinds, just like this one. You've got sardines, you've got all kinds of seafoods that are canned. Yeah, I don't know what they are. This is a big one here. This is tuna. It's pate, and there's pate's huge here in Europe. And let's see what else we've got. I guess these are maybe some kind of fish. So all kinds of fish, mackerel. Maybe that's tuna. And then you get into your pickled goods here. You've got, oh my goodness, asparagus and carrots, pickles. These look like either pickled onions or pickled beets, I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay, one of my favorite things that I have found over here is a garlic mayonnaise. I think this is just plain mayonnaise, but they have mayonnaise mixed with garlic, and it is to die for. It's awesome. This is kind of like a tartar sauce, but the garlic mayonnaise is divine. So lots of different types of this tartarski is tartar sauce. And then you've got ketchup. Not too weird, but, and you do have Heinz here. You've got different flavors of Heinz mayonnaise, so.
It's ketchup.
Or, I'm sorry, ketchup. There's a lot of pork and chicken. Not as much beef here as we see in the States, for sure. And you'll see kind of ground beef patties and a little ground beef. It has the cow on it. That's kind of how we've determined what it is. And then you'll see this has pig, and then chicken, and then turkey. So definitely not as much beef here as we're used to seeing in the States. So we've got the cooler here, and it has, you can see it's got pierogies, it's got kinds of pastas, different kinds of pastas. This is one thing that we found that we liked, and it's chicken strips, and you can just microwave them. They're very good, excellent. I would say on par with probably Chick-fil-A, but very, very good. But you got all kinds of pierogies here. First day I was here, I had pierogies and kind of ate too many and kind of made myself sick. I didn't realize how filling they were. So you've got some filled with berries, some filled with cheese, some filled with meat, so it just depends. This is more pickled items here. That's some kind of fish, and it's definitely weird. This is, we call it kind of a jello, but it's gelatized or gelatinous meat with vegetables. This is huge here. If you didn't hear Russell, he said yum. Looks like chicken in that one with carrots and such, but definitely gelatinous. Oh yeah, the fish. I guess that's smoked. Yeah, smoked fish. And more gelatinous fish over there. So, gelatinous products. What they call hamburgers. I really don't even know what kind of meat that is, but it's definitely not like, you know, your McDonald's hamburger or steak burger for sure, but that's what was in those patties earlier that we showed you. Then we get into Polish sausages, and Russell's eaten, I guess, a couple or three different types of these.
I had them for breakfast.
Yeah, he's had them for breakfast. I don't know if you can hear him over all this music, but different kinds of sausages, kielbasas, and he's been pleased with them. They're okay. I've had a couple of bites of his, and he's liked them. He has them with eggs and for breakfast on a regular basis. So yeah, you got like deli. I don't know if these are more like your what we would consider a hot dog type. And then you've got these that look like, to me, they look like beef jerky.
Snack stick.
Yeah, snack stick kind of things that you can have. And then here, Russell, this is interesting. Got chicken legs that are pre-cooked. Haven't seen those before. Kind of looked over those. All right, let's move on to the dairy section. And boy, they have tons of different types of cheeses here. Not that that's weird or anything, but it's nice to have a huge selection of cheese. And I will say that I don't see any that appears to be like Kraft singles. These look like they're real cheese. It's not a processed cheese. You've got goat cheese here at the top. All kinds of goat cheeses there. So yeah. Now we're getting kind of into yogurts, and I think there's some that are definitely stronger yogurts than others. Very similar. I think I've seen some Activia, maybe not at this store, but we have seen it. I personally found one that I really like, but I don't see it here. That Yogo Bella is huge. That is on TV every time you turn the television on. They're running advertisements for it. That's not the one that I actually got, but oh, here's the one I like. This Cerec, the vanilla is like, it's less than $1 container. It's about 70 cents, and it is fabulous. It tastes like, to me, almost like vanilla ice cream. It has a very strong vanilla taste or flavor. Okay, now we're into the milk, and you can see down here, if Russell will show you at the bottom, you don't have gallon jugs like we do back home. And I think that goes back to the fact that, again, most people are carrying their groceries back to their apartment or their home or wherever they're staying. So they're not they're not carrying gigantic bottles or cartons of milk and water and that kind of thing. So you have to keep that in mind when you are actually buying groceries, that you're going to have to carry all this back. They do have a lot of different milks here in the cartons, or shelf-stable milk that you can purchase. This is an interesting thing, and we even have some of this. This is coffee creamer, and yeah, it's not like you get the big bottles of creamer over here that were the coffee made and that kind of thing, so you won't be seeing that. All right, here's eggs. This is the egg section, and it's in between the water and the milk. And as we showed you earlier, all shelf-stable. And another interesting thing is it's a 10-pack or a 6-pack. Again, you can see a little chicken poo there on it. And or you can get a large container down here with 20 eggs, but not the dozen like we're used to, for sure. Yeah, everything paprika over here is huge, and we like the paprika chips. I'm just going to show you what Pringles they have, because, you know, the brothers and the nephew work at Pringles, so they do have Pringles. $11.89 would be about $4 a can, so a little pricey there, brothers. Yeah, yeah, a little high over here. They do have Lay's, they have Doritos. The generic chips here, to me, are just as good.
Honestly, these crunch chips, this brand right here.
The crunch chips, if you didn't hear Russell, he said to him those are probably some of the best that we have found.
If you think about it, they're just between $2 and $3 a bag.
Yeah, $2 and $3 a bag. I don't know if you're able to hear Russell or not, since he doesn't have a mic on. Okay, beer, we don't purchase beer, but you can purchase beer by the bottle here instead of by the pack. So that's, I guess, interesting. I don't know that that's weird, but interesting if you're in the market for that. But they have flour here on the right or left here, just like we do at home. But again, you don't see these gigantic bags like we do in the States. There's not any 5-pound bags here. These are probably, I would say, 2-pound bags, 2.5-pound bags maybe, at the most. No huge bags of flour or sugar. You've got the sugar here, and it's definitely not in the big bags like we're used to seeing. What they call biscuits is what we call cookies, so that's something to keep in mind. All kinds of different ones. Milka, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, is a huge brand here. They have cookies, they have candy bars, that kind of thing. Milka's huge. There's Nutella biscuits. Again, when you see the word biscuits, know that that's a cookie. So Nutella cookies. So you won't find really a Walmart here or something like that. You'll find pharmacies and the grocery stores. Very similar, again, to Aldi's. We'll have some beauty items in them, like shampoos, conditioners, individual bars of soap that you can purchase, razors. They have really inexpensive razors here. Some are good and some are horrible. Toothpaste, that kind of thing, men's products, toothbrushes. So really anything you need you can find here. They've got Sensodyne, they have Colgate, so they do have some American brands, but then obviously they have brands that we're not familiar with as well. Now we're at the coffee, and if you know me, I'm a huge coffee drinker, and I have been, I don't know, a month now since I've had an actual brewed cup of coffee. We've been doing instant coffee. This Nescafe Crema, or some of the generic brands of Crema, not as bitter for sure, pretty good coffee, instant coffee in a kettle. You've got the 3-in-1s and the 2-in-1s. 2-in-1 is coffee with creamer, and 3-in-1s are coffee, creamer, and sugar, and they're in the little individual packs. So that's definitely something to keep in mind if you're visiting here. But lots of instant coffee. There are beans and grounds, but we've not been in an apartment yet that takes either one of those. We do have a kettle, like it's not a Nescafe, but or Nespresso. It's some kind of kettle that takes an actual pod, and we have not been able to find those pods, so we haven't used it. These are teas. Teas are huge over here. You've got all kinds of flavors of teas, British tea, Lipton, Adventure, all different kinds of brands of teas. I think maybe tea is just as popular as coffee here, which is shocking. Okay, this is a Budweiser, Budvar.
It's Budweiser, made in Czech Republic.
Okay, so again, buy the individual bottle. All right, I'm gonna get a pastry for later today. We have plenty of food, so don't need any of that. We always try and reach to the back because some people just reach in with their hands, their bare hands, and don't use the gloves, which is kind of gross. So we kind of reach to the back, hope for the new stuff. Flavored beer. Again, we're not beer drinkers, but apparently this is a big thing here, which I think is kind of weird, is these flavored beers. This one's orange, and then you have lemon. This one, Captain Jack. Blue Lagoon. I don't think they're that readily available in the States. They may be, but anyways, these are beers. Again, Desperados, Cuba Libre, Red. So different kinds. Another thing you need to keep in mind when you're shopping in Europe is they do not provide free bags. Again, very similar to Aldi's, you either bring your bag or you buy a bag. So you'll see lots of people walking around with bags on wheels that they pull around, especially the elderly ladies. So it's definitely not like some of the stores in the States, Target, Walmart, that kind of thing, where they provide bags for you. That is not a thing here. We survived the meat jelly.
Yeah. Have you, watching this video, have you noticed something, or have you ever tried something in a different country that was kind of out of the ordinary or something you're not used to? Put it in the comments. Tell us what it is. Let all the other viewers know, and we'll go from there.
Have you ever tried meat jelly other than Spam?
Yeah. Gelatinous pig's feet or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you would, like and subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up. And like I said, put something in the comments, something unusual you tried when you was traveling abroad.
Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day and safe travels out there.